What's going on, music fans of the internet? Welcome back to last week's album. I'm Derek.
And I am Kevin.
And before we go any further, let's kick things off like we usually do, except this time it's different. Cheers. You might notice a little bit different looking drink in our hands. We'll cheers, and then Kevin will tell you about it afterwards.
Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home. Yeah, normally we drink beer, but because of the album we're reviewing this week, and its whiskey-ridden lyrics, we decided to change things up and go with a little whiskey. So what are we reviewing, Derek?
Kevin, that's a great segue. We're reviewing Most Messed Up by the old 97's. So, yeah, obviously, as we kind of alluded to, there's going to be a lot of talk of drinking here. The old 97's originally started in 93 when Rhett Miller, their frontman, started teaming up with bassist Murray Hammond up in Dallas, Texas. And Most Messed Up is their 10th studio album and also marks their 20th anniversary since their first debut album. And Most Messed Up reflects on those 20 years of playing music, life on the road, and a lot of booze. So there's some background. Kevin, why don't you tell us what Most Messed Up sounds like?
Sure. I thought that Most Messed Up sounds like alt country pioneers proving they can still rock and drink anyone under the table. What do you think it sounds like, Derek?
Kevin, I like that. I take a little bit different approach here. I think Most Messed Up sounds like the musical equivalent of a hangover-curing chicken fried steak with tons of gravy on the top and a michelada on the side.
That sounds awesome. I like it.
I'm already hungry and I just ate dinner. I don't know what I'm doing. Key tracks. Kevin, what did you have?
I have This Is The Ballad and Nashville. What about you, Derek?
Nice. I also had Nashville, but my next key track is The Disconnect. So let's start off with the ballad. I believe that's first.
This is the ballad, which is not a ballad. There's not a ballad on this whole album, if you couldn't tell by its sort of whiskey-infused, freewheeling sounds like that we've given you. But yeah, I really like this one song for its military drumming, harmonious sort of blaring guitars. They're almost dueling, but they're playing the same lines, which is really cool, and a very sing-along ready chorus. And overall, it just sort of reminded me of this Irish drinking song. Not that it is, but it sort of harps back to that sort of vibe and tone. And the theme overall is just the sort of anxiousness and time-wastedness as you wait for tomorrow, if you will. So kind of a like, hey, let's get ready for whatever happens next kind of vibe. And that's why I liked it. Why did you like Nashville, Derek?
Kevin, there was a lot I liked here on Nashville, but the sound really caught my attention immediately. There was a lively strummed acoustic guitar, a livelier electric guitar, and a bass snare drum beat, which I wanted to call the liveliest, but it just wouldn't be apt. Overall, I thought they created a sound that I wanted to call a honky-tonk rocker. It's just upbeat. Had some elements of classic Americana, but then had their own old 97's spin on it. There were some really cool lyrics. He kind of tells a story about running away from his wife, much to the chagrin of her brother and father. One lyric that kind of stood out to me: "I need a place to hide, so I threw away my pride. Come inside because I'm tired of running." Just really kind of captured the emotions of that story well, I thought, and great sound.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact, Rhett Miller co-wrote this one with a Nashville songwriter named John McElroy, and after they sort of got together and wrote this song, Rhett has said in a few interviews that this song and that songwriter in particular influenced him and the rest of the entire album. So as a song, it's really interesting because it sort of encapsulates this sort of raw punk rock vibe to the album. In recent years, they've been getting a little bit more polished, a little bit more beautiful. And here it's just like rough around the edges, which is really nice, almost like a live show. And that really comes through on Nashville with its foot stomping beat. And as Derek mentioned, a lot of internal rhymes. My second favorite lyric on the album, who do I gotta blow to get into this fucking show? If that tells you they're just throwing care to the wind, I don't know what does, but it's a great track. And what was your next one, Derek?
The Disconnect. This one starts, there's a rumbling electric guitar riff, more strummed acoustic. But here, to me, I thought the lyrics really shone through here. He really kind of talks about losing touch with reality back home, especially when you're on the road for a long time, as they have been, or as they kind of describe it in the chorus, being connected to the disconnect. Just some contrary type stuff going on there. And then there were some more real solid lyrics. My friends always call me up so they can call me out. Truth is life is short, and truth's in short supply. Just some really interesting, introspective lyrics here that I really thought well encapsulated kind of at least the somewhat grown up or maturity that has come along with their increasingly large tolerance for alcohol. So that brings us to best lyric. I mean, we've dropped many already, but you know, those were some of the rest. Let's go to the best. Kevin.
Sure. My best lyric is coming from This Is The Ballad. It goes, "This is the ballad of trying to grow flowers so life will seem like it has meaning and stuff." And again, just kind of throwing care to the wind here. Despite all the great lines Derek has mentioned, I'm enjoying the parts of this album where it's just kind of free, off the cuff, not worried too much about it, and I thought this lyric in particular exemplified that rather well. But I'm going to guess Derek has a really clever, smart one.
Maybe, but you know, Kevin, at the same time, I like the fact that there's like, it's littered with these gems and throwaways at the same time. For me, that really made the album that much better. Yeah. But here's my, whatever you want to describe it. It rhymes. I turn left turns into right. I turn sunshine into night. I got my ass kicked in every fight. I couldn't get it right. That's from Nashville. Just kind of, once again, this introspective, you know, kind of looking back at, and maybe at this point with the maturity, kind of acknowledging, hey, maybe I didn't handle that correctly. I'm not fully admitting guilt or, you know, anything else, but acknowledging maybe I could have potentially done something better. So that's my best lyric from Nashville. Overall rating. Kevin, what did you think?
All right, I'm going 4 out of 5. I thought this is one of the best albums Old 97's have put out. I mean, and that's considering the huge catalog they have put out. As we mentioned, this is their 10th studio album. It just really captures the fun and liveliness and rawness that I don't think they've fully captured on an album just yet. As Derek mentioned, there are clever lines. I also liked the sort of fun throwaways, and that is a nice mix. It gives you things to pull from here and there. And, you know, it's just a fun, boozy salute to the imperfections of life, which is really nicely mirrored in the rawness of some of the recording and production value for this album. So, overall, 4 out of 5. What do you think, Derek?
Kevin, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 as well. Just a lot of really good things here. You know, we kind of touched on this already, but just the diversity in some of the lyrics. I thought, it just made me keep coming back because it's almost like that the closer you listen, you know, they build up this expectation it might go here, and it goes somewhere completely different. In both you know, ends of the spectrum, as we kind of been discussing. I did really like, you know, exactly as you said, the rawness, or just embracing the imperfections. I really dug it. It just made it for a much more almost intimate feel, but at the same time, you know, you could play this at a bar, and you know, at least the bars we go to, because they're kind of more dives than anything, and it would be fantastic. So 4 out of 5 from both Kevin and I. So that means you should probably go be checking out Most Messed Up, like as soon as you get done watching our video here, and subscribing to our shiz if you haven't already. Once again, thanks again for joining us at last week's album. We're talking about good music. Don't forget once again to subscribe to our shiz, and join us again next week, where we'll continue talking about good music. Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.